It is draft day, basketball fans. We have a great show ahead of you today. I'm Luke Maiers, along with my partner, Joey Maiers, and we'll be covering everything from who we think should go number one to what are the odds the Sixers draft another big man. First, we're going to get started with some of the news affecting the draft around the league. In the last couple of days, there's been some big stuff that has gone down. The Sixers and Lakers both have announced who they think they're going to take at number one and number two, and two pretty huge trades affecting the draft as well. We'll start there. Jeff Teague got traded to the Pacers in a three-team trade. The Jazz sent their number 12 overall pick to the Hawks. The Hawks sent Teague to the Pacers, and the Pacers sent Hill to the Jazz. Derrick Rose trade. He gets sent to the Knicks along with Justin Holiday and a 2017 second-round pick. And the Bulls get Jose Calderon, Jerian Grant, and Robin Lopez. Well, we're going to start here. Who should go number one to the Sixers? Joey, who you thinking?
Well, since the 76ers already have two young big men in Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid, I don't think it would be wise of them to take Ben Simmons, who I think is slightly overrated to begin with. But I think Brandon Ingram would be a much better choice because he has a skill set that is similar to, I think, Kevin Durant, and I think that he would fit in better on that team than Ben Simmons.
You forgot to mention Jahlil Okafor right there. Do you think there's any way tonight that the Sixers trade? They have a lot of picks in this draft, second most next to the Celtics. Do you think there's any way they trade one of those picks and maybe package Okafor, Embiid, or Noel and try to move up in the draft, try to get another high pick from it?
I do think that that's a possibility that they do that if they draft Ben Simmons. However, I don't know if they draft Brandon Ingram. I don't think it'll be necessary for them to do that.
The way I look at it, the Sixers have gone big man every year from since I can remember. It's been a long time. But one overlooked pick they had a couple years ago was Alfred Payton, and they did end up trading him. And now look at him; he's down in Orlando. He's doing a pretty exceptional job down there, helping turn around that team. So you're saying right now you think Ingram should go?
I think Ingram should go to the Sixers over Simmons because I think he's going to be a better NBA player, and I think that Simmons is overrated.
I kind of agree with you on the Ingram part. And Simmons. I do think he is a little overrated. He hasn't quite developed into the player that LSU thought he was going to be. Another person to watch out for, I think, could be Jamal Murray from Kentucky. He did a really good job last year. 45% from the field, 41% from three. Those numbers are both equal or better than Brandon Ingram's numbers at Duke this past year, and he was very overlooked. He's 10% better at the free throw line, averaged more points per game, and more assists. So I think Jamal Murray could be somebody you look out for there. And number two, going to the Lakers, LA, a big market. Who are you looking at there?
Well, personally, I think that Buddy Hield would be a great fit for the Lakers, but they have smorgasbord of guards right now to choose from, and I think that if they drafted Hield, they would have to move one of their good young guards.
I agree with you 100%. I think, for some reason, I've just thought this for a while. I think Buddy Hield would look great in a Lakers jersey. And plus, they do have a lot of guards out there, but let's picture they've said they're not going to trade D'Angelo Russell, but let's just think for a second they go out, trade D'Angelo Russell with with a pick or another player not quite as good as Russell's caliber, and they bring in somebody who's like maybe a Jimmy Butler type or a Kevin Love type, bring in somebody who's a big name, pretty much a star. I think between either trade the pick or get Buddy Hield would be my option, although right now they're committing to Brandon Ingram at number two. We'll see how it plays out tonight. And there's two people in this draft, Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram, who have been compared to very big names in the NBA right now. Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, and Ben Simmons, LeBron James. What's your take on those two?
Well, Ben Simmons in college, from what anybody could tell, he had more points than John Wall, he had more rebounds than Kevin Love, and he had more assists than Steph Curry in college. So those numbers alone are pretty good, but he did not have much of a jump shot. He shot only three threes in college, and he was one of three on them. However, he did have 56% field goal percentage, but most of them were inside. And he's been compared to LeBron James. I don't see it. When LeBron came up, he had a better jumper than that. And in college, Ben Simmons didn't carry his team to the NCAA tournament. When LeBron was his age, he was in the NBA, and he led his team to the playoffs in his second year in the league. So I think LeBron is just a better all-around player.
we'll come back to the KD Ingram comparison, but I agree 100%. I think calling Ben Simmons, even coming into his freshman year at LSU, calling him the next LeBron James is absolutely absurd because you thinking about it now, you're thinking of LeBron James being as good as Michael Jordan, if not better. And those players don't come around every, what has it been, 13 years? They don't happen that often. So I think calling him that is just pretty laughable. Simmons, looking at his numbers right here, his field goal percentage was better. His 3-point field goal percentage was better. But LeBron averaged more points his rookie year and was just an animal on the assist and rebounding ends. Although Simmons was no slump there, but LeBron just has a better jumper. He had a better jumper at his age.
And there were other concerns with Simmons in college. It seemed that sometimes he didn't care enough, didn't want his team to succeed. It was more of just like a personal thing for him. He was just there for the year and wanted to get out of there. It seemed like.
That's another thing I noticed. He just doesn't have that. Like in this last finals, we saw LeBron James absolutely take over the series in the final 3 games and pull his team back. If you're to tell me Ben Simmons is going to be that caliber of a player next year, I just don't see it because he didn't show it this year at LSU. It might have even been better off for Ben Simmons to go to Kentucky or Kansas or Duke just to see how to win, try and get that feel and maybe get that mentality where he's always in attack mode trying to take over the game. So next one we got is Brandon Ingram, Kevin Durant. Now Kevin Durant's my favorite player in the NBA. I think it's a joke, but what do you think?
Well, they have the same build. They're both tall and lanky and skinny, and they can shoot the three. And I don't know, they have a similar skill set, but I think you're talking. It's the same deal with like what you just said about LeBron. Those players don't come along that often. Kevin Durant's a perennial all-star in this league. He's one of the top 5 players in the league. Right away, at least, I don't see Brandon Ingram having that impact for any team, whether it's the Lakers or 76ers, whoever gets him. I don't think that he will be as good as Kevin Durant now, and probably ever.
Kevin Durant was arguably one of the biggest draft picks for any team in the history of the NBA. Thinking coming into Seattle, not very too great of a team. Then they moved to Oklahoma City, and he completely turns around a franchise from in 7 years, taking them from first round of the playoffs to almost making. Well, they did make the NBA Finals in 2012, but almost making it to the finals this year versus one of the best regular season teams in the history of the NBA. Just looking at their numbers, KD was 3% better from the field. Ingram's got him on 3-point percentage by just 1%, but KD was 14% better at the free throw line, averaged 9 more points, 5 more rebounds. I don't think it's comparable to compare two superstars in this league who are so respected and have so much talent to two people that are coming into the draft. The only comparison I can see in Kevin Durant and Brandon Ingram is their body features. Kevin Durant was 1 inch taller coming into college, weighed 20 more pounds. Ingram's obviously going to have to hit the weight room because he's just kind of skin and bones right now. Won't be able to do a post move like KD does where he backs him down, does a fadeaway, but those comparisons, I just don't see him right now. Maybe someday. Hey, why not? Our next topic here is who should the Lakers pick at number 1? We kind of touched on this earlier. We both said Buddy Hield, or at number 2. Who should the Lakers take there? We said Buddy Hield for obvious reasons. Some other notes I made here: he can make his own shot, can find his own shot, can get open. He is a pure scorer. I also have another idea here for what the Lakers could do. Like I said, trade Clarkson or Russell and maybe another draft pick or kind of a deep bench person and try and bring up some more picks or try and sway the draft in their favor. What are you thinking?
I think the Lakers are going to go out and get someone this year, whether it's a Harrison Barnes or Kevin Love, or they just need they need a star player on their team that has experience with all these young guys. If they don't draft Buddy Hield, which is who I think they should draft, but I don't think they will, I think if Ben Simmons is available, Ben Simmons would be a great fit there because you'd have the guards and you'd have Julius Randle down low and Ben Simmons, and then you got Clarkson and D'Angelo Russell. I just think that would be good for the time.
I think he would look great in purple and gold. It's not really a good reason to draft somebody, but hey, give him number 24, call him Kobe Bryant for the next couple of years. Next up, we got most undervalued, our second last topic. Most undervalued person in the draft. Who are you looking at here, Joey?
I'm gonna stick with my Buddy Hield. I think he He was compared at times to Steph Curry in college because as you recall, Steph Curry was a magnificent scorer in college, and once he got to the NBA, he just really took the NBA by storm. It took him a couple years, but look at him now. He's two-time MVP, made it to won finals, lost finals the next year, and I think that Hield's a good enough shooter. He's got killer instinct. He's made some big shots. I think that down the road, teams will be kicking themselves for not picking Hield.
Yeah, I agree. I've actually been hearing a lot of ESPN experts and NBC and stuff like that say that Buddy Hield is the best jumper since Steph Curry to come out of the draft. And there were some serious questions about Curry, whether he could be a true point guard in this league or just a shooting guard. And that those are kind of the same questions that are being brought up right now with Buddy Hield. But hopefully, I'd love to see Buddy Hield pulled together and really kind of put together a Steph Curry like career. I think I have three names here. One of them is Buddy Hield for most undervalued, but Chris Dunn and Malachi Richardson, Syracuse and Providence people right there. Chris Dunn, just an animal. His last 2 years at Providence, averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Both those years, at least that. His numbers were much higher his senior year. And he also led his team to two NCAA tournaments. And when you think of powerhouses in the Big East, it's not necessarily Providence. But considering what he did there and taking them into two consecutive NCAA tournaments, kind of hanging with North Carolina this year in the tournament, I think he's very undervalued. I know a lot of other people out there like him. I think he'd be a good top five pick, good fit for anybody. Got a great attitude. Malachi Richardson from Syracuse, only a freshman, but he shined bright in the NCAA tournament this year. Averaged 15 points per game. He had one down game where there was 4 points, but then in the Elite Eight and Final Four, 20 points both of those games. Almost led Syracuse to the finals as a 10 seed. Would have been, I think, the highest seed to ever make the NCAA tournament championship. I think he'd be another great grab for any team out there. He's still pretty young, but then again, so is Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram. What's the difference between them and him? The hype they got coming out of high school.
And another knock that people have been saying about Buddy Hield is that he went to college for 4 years. And they say, oh, if he was a real star, he would have been a star his freshman year, sophomore year. There's no reason he would have had to stay 4 years. Well, the thing is, he got better after those 4 years, so he's good now, and that's all I really think that matters.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like the Denzel Valentines, the Chris Dunns, the Buddy Hields of this world, Draymond Green, they get looked down upon because they went to school for 4 years. And I just don't think that's fair to them. They're some of the best. They could be some of the best. Draymond Green being one of the best players in the league at this point in time. Athletes coming out of college should not be punished for going to school for 4 years. That's just the way we look at it. And now, one of the most interesting topics, I think, of the whole NBA draft. The Boston Celtics this evening have 7 picks in the 2-round draft tonight. They are a good team already. Their front office has done a magnificent job of rebuilding that team. Brad Stevens is a miracle worker. What do you think they could do with the number 3 overall pick tonight?
I honestly think they could trade the number 3 overall pick. Well, from what I hear, the 76ers are ramping up their efforts to try to acquire the number 3 pick from the Celtics. So that would give them the number 1 and the number 3 picks. So if they did decide to go Ben Simmons with number 1, that would free up some space for them to draft like Buddy Hield or Brandon Ingram with the other pick and send off like Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor, or Joel Embiid.
Yeah, almost forgot a name there, didn't you, Joey? I agree. I think with 7 picks, you have a bunch of flexibility you can play with. Even if you trade one pick, even if it is the number 3 overall, you're still getting value with that pick. But I agree. I think they should trade the number 3 overall and package a guard because I think I counted earlier they have 5 point guards with Evan Turner possibly being a point guard on that team that they could package and trade. And none of them are pretty bad. They got Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, and one other I can't think of right now. But package one of them. They could even do that and just go and try and trade for center, a superstar center if they wanted. I don't know where they'd go and get it right now, but you could try and appeal to other teams by doing that who have guard needs. And after that, I'd say take the best available. Your team is already really good. You can compete in the Eastern Conference, but if you're getting more talent on that team, like say Denzel Valentine's still there at around 20 and you want to get that, you can go get that. That's a great value pick. I'd go and get him there. You're improving your team. You're just bringing in talent left and right. And finally, we're going to talk about one last thing since Joey and I are both diehard Iowa Hawkeye fans. Jared Utoff, one of the best players in Iowa's recent history next to Aaron White, Devin Marble, Mac Aitons, will be going on the off into the NBA tonight. Where do you think he's going to go tonight, Joey?
I think that Jared Utoff will go probably early to mid second round, mainly because he went to college for 4 years, and players that went to college for 4 years typically aren't revered like players that are one and done, such as Ingram and Ben Simmons, for whatever reason that baffles me. But anyhow, I think that he would be good for any team. I think he would fit in with the Spurs because the San Antonio Spurs have a lot of level-headed guys, not big personalities. They just work hard and they play hard, and that's exactly what Jared Utoff is. He doesn't get too excited about much. He just goes out there and does what he's supposed to do. And he's tall and lanky. He blocks shots. He plays on both ends of the floor. So I think that he's going to be a great player for whatever team chooses him.
When you think of NBA players, you don't necessarily think of a tall, skinny, white guy with an outside shot, but Jared Utoff has the ability to go inside, hammer down a dunk, or step outside, pull up for three. And since he's so tall, his shots don't get blocked that often. He's a pretty good ball handler. Seeing him go tonight, anywhere in between, I think, 20 and to 29 of the first round. Spurs sit at 29 right now, so that could be a possibility. I agree with Joe. I agree with you there, but any other team, I don't know how he will do with. I just think the Spurs, like you said, they're level-headed. We were joking before, they're kind of emotionless, almost like robots, but they get the job done, and they're good at what they do. Once again, thank you for listening. This has been a special Draft Day podcast by Luke Maiers with my partner Joey Maiers. I just want to give a shout out to studentunionsports.com for everything they do. Some great authors on that website, young authors, college students. We're always looking for more people to come out and help. So if you're ever interested in writing about college sports and you're a student, go to studentunionsports.com and try and contact us.